wanted to talk to you about welding after prison. So I put up a poll just to ask a few questions about what my upcoming book should be that I've been working on. Been having several ideas, been going different directions, and the one that got the most um, feedback, the most percentage was welding after prison. So a few people asked me, how did it start? How did I actually get into it? And that's kind of what I want to be explaining inside of the book, inside of the video blog too. Kind of how I got initiated in it. For those who do know my story, they know already. But for those who don't, my mom introduced the welding to me while I was in prison. Good rising, good rising, good rising. So my mom introduced welding to me while I was in prison. And that's how I got introduced to the welding. And I was in prison at that time. I was 17 years old when the welding actually got introduced to me. When I even thought about welding was I was 17. So that's when that seed got planted in me. I was 17 years old. Now, welding after prison, I was released after that decade that I served from 16 to 26 years old. I was released in 2006, March the 8th. That day is very important to me, and I'm gonna come back to it a little later in this video blog. But I want to let you know that that's how it started, March the 8th, 2006. I was released from prison, and I actually had met a chaplain who knew a guy that I guess he worked on the deacon board or something with him that had a company, and they welded inside of the company. And the guy said, "Hey, I know a guy. Maybe I can help you get your first job. All I can do is give him the information, and I can give him a word on your character because I've been knowing you for a few years because me and this chaplain have been talking for a few years. So we knew one another quite well. We laughed, joked, and stuff like that. So we had knew one another, quite well. And so he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna put a good word in for you, and hopefully you can get out and make something happen." Now, I got out on a Friday. I believe it was a Friday. I believe it was a Friday, or maybe it was a Wednesday. I can't remember exactly what date on, but I got the job. I went up there the day I got out. I went straight up there, and I talked to the guy. That's the first thing I wanted to do, and I got the job. I was told to come in that following Monday, and I also went and worked on my license. So that was one thing that I made sure I did. I went and took the test that Friday because you got to get the paper first, the permit. So I had to get my permit and start over like that. So it was all a new experience because before I went to prison, I never actually had a driver license. I was 16. I drove a lot. I had my whole car, but I didn't have no driver license. You know what I mean? So I had to go through that process of learning, life again. So when I got out and got that opportunity, I never forget, man, I was so happy. I was so stoked about this job. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I was only making $8 an hour. $8 an hour, 2006, in a small town called Newport, Arkansas. I was making $8 an hour, TIG welding aluminum. You know what I mean? I was TIG welding and MIG welding aluminum with a spool gun. So it was funny actually because I really didn't mind because I thought about the times when I was in prison working for free. And I'm like, surely this is just a stepping stone. And honestly, I didn't know too much about the price of what I was worth or what I should start at. I wasn't aware of that. It took some time for me to actually study the system, but in that area, it was just, the cost of living was cheap. At that time, um, I believe the minimum wage was probably like seven something. To learn how I could help. Fast. So, I had to, learn the system in that area, and it was a small area. So, my initiation of getting into welding out of prison was in a small town. And I believe this small, I think this Newport had right around 11,000 people in the town. I believe the population was at the time, I believe. Um, like I say, it was a small town, but that was my first opportunity. And no lie, I just wanted to share this because it wasn't, man, I don't think it was a month. I want to say it was 2 weeks after me working this job. I got a raise. I knew it wasn't longer than a month, but they called me in the office, and the guy that they had over the foreman over the shop, man, dude was just amazed with my work ethics. I didn't mind working. I was good at what I did. If they put me on something, I knocked it out. Like, I was cool with it because I was eager to learn. I wanted to see, my welding skills, and I also wanted to critique them and get better and learn more terminologies and learn more hand tools and things that I didn't know that I wanted to know, more of the names and more of the stuff that I wasn't aware of, you know what I mean? So I had an opportunity to learn. And this guy, to this day, I don't know if he alive or not, but I do want to salute that for me, man. That guy right there was cool with me. Like, I'm gonna keep it real. There was a white guy from um, the neck of woods of Newport. He had a Harley. He was a cool guy. You could tell he'd been around the corner a couple times, but he bounced back. You know what I mean? But he was a cool white dude, man. Cool guy. And he gave me a lot of encouragement as far as like my potential goes because he's seen it in me. And he was actually saying that, hey, you do deserve this or that. You know what I mean? And I remember the company wanted to top me out at like $11 for like a year, and I didn't do it. I left, and that's when I started going up and up and up. So, but like I said, when I got that raise, it was from $8 to $10. So I went from $8 to $10 in like, within a couple weeks, under a month. You know what I mean? So in that town, that was good money. And then the way we was living, the cost of living, and what we was doing, I was able to get some things, take care of bills, do this. I was trying to, learn the system, saving, trying to buy things, get things, take care of family, feed. It's just the full nine. I had to learn all of that again because I got out to a family. When I got out, I had a wife. I had got married in prison. So when I got out, I had a wife, I had a family, you know what I mean? At the time, I had two stepkids that was, I want to say Noah and Reagan was probably, I think they're a few years apart. So maybe she was 5 or 6 and he was 3 or 4. I don't know, something like that. They was a few years apart when I got out. I can't remember, but I know they were still young. And that was my family, you know what I mean? And then I created my daughter. And this is the funny thing. That's why I say March the 8th was so funny because I got out March the 8th. My daughter, Amaris, was born December the 8th. And I remember my mom telling me, she said, boy, if I didn't know no better, I'd have said that girl was already pregnant. Or you got some strong genes because you got out on the 8th and you made that baby. Like, my daughter was born on that date. You know what I mean? The day I was released, 9 months from that date. And that was just amazing. And one thing that was incredible about it was because what 8 stood for. Because I did studying on numbers, and I did some concordance study on the Old Testament and the New Testament. I kind of like I love to study. I love to get wisdom from the past. History repeats itself, so it's good to learn history. And I was caught up in numbers and different things. And at that time, I remember how the number 8 stood for new beginnings. And I remember when that hit me, I was like, dang, what you say? Yes, yes, peace, brother, peace, peace. I remember the number 8 stands for new beginnings, and I was like, new beginnings, new beginnings. And then I got out. It was just so ironic that I got out on that date, a new beginning date. After doing 10 years, I get out on March the 8th, a new beginning. You know what I mean? And it was a new beginning for me. And then my daughter get born the same year on December the 8th, a new beginning. You see what I'm saying? For me, you see what I'm saying? So it was just ironic how the way things fell through. Oh, okay. What up? What up? What up? Now, yeah, man, it was amazing. You know what I mean? Honestly, the way things worked out, but God was walking with me. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm a spiritual person. I don't really believe in religions. Religions is all over the place. Everybody to each his own. But I am a spiritual person. I do believe in God, and I do believe in spiritual principles, and and I do believe that everything have a design. You know what I mean? So um, me getting released on that day, my daughter being born on that day, and the way things were set up with me getting that first job, making $8 an hour. Okay, you know what I mean? That's 38 now. $8 an hour, out on the 8th, daughter born on the 8th. You know what I mean? So it stuck to me like, okay, you got to start from somewhere. So this was my new beginning, and I had to start from $8 an hour, and it literally took me some years to actually find my potential, but I stayed at it. I worked for someone for 10 years approximately before I started doing business on my own after I was released. So It was 2016 before I actually said, I was going to do a business. You know what I mean? I started a business in 2013, but it didn't have nothing to do with welding. Then I came back again strong in 2016. I kind of had to like recoup. I had lost some friends, did some bad investments. A lot of things went wrong. And, sometimes when you growing and you learning, you're gonna make those type of mistakes. You're gonna make those type of mistakes. So it's all about the process. So I think that's important, just to endure the process. Okay. Yeah, it takes time, man. And you know what? It was just funny how everything worked out. That's why I keep saying that, I wanted to go back to the number eight, because eight stands for new beginnings, and that was a new beginning for me. Coming home after 10 years spent incarcerated, having to learn the system like completely. Like I had to learn everything over again. And then I'm gonna tell you, a lot of things I was foolish on, because I thought certain things was a certain way, and I got out and it ain't like that. What I mean? I had to actually experience people. I thought people was this way, and then I get out and found out, man, it's more faces, it's more deceptions, it's more, ulterior motives. You know what I mean? And welling after prison, literally, like I can tell you this, it kept me uh, from going back to prison. I'm gonna say that for a fact, because I know a lot of friends and associates who went back to prison doing the same thing on a on a religious basis, because they didn't know nothing else. They didn't replace what they knew from the streets with a skill, with some knowledge. And that's one thing I'm blessed to say, that I utilize my opportunities in there to get my GED, get certified in welding and Botech, go to college for small business management. Those things that I did in prison. So those was three accomplishments that I can actually say that has benefited my life tremendously, me being free now. And it was because that I, utilized that time. You know what I mean? I want to see what somebody said, because I can't really see when it pops up from the back. Yes, right. Um, just wanted to say, man, that it's important to endure, and I'm gonna tell you something else. I noticed getting out of prison after doing that time, we tend to watch the progress and what others doing, and not really fully focus on what we're doing. So it's easy to get sidetracked. It's easy to see the people riding on the rims, the women, the cars, the the money, the jewelry, the like, man, how can I get some of this? And then, especially if you're used to doing it, you're like, man, this clock ain't getting it. So sometimes we have to have that single vision, man, and to really focus on what we're doing, because you can get sidetracked. I will say that for a fact, because it's called chasing vanity. We'll get caught up and we'll try to, how they say, fit in with the Joneses, get in with the Joneses or whatnot, catch up, keep up with them. You know what I mean? And one thing I learned is that you can't, don't try to keep up with someone. You just got to check in where you can check in at. Just like after doing that time, after doing that decade, when I came home, I had a daughter that was conceived right before I went to prison. And her mom was actually, I remember her mom telling me before I was incarcerated that she was like a couple weeks, 3, 4 weeks pregnant or something. And I didn't believe her. I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought she was lying to me. I'm young. I was like, oh, this woman ain't pregnant. She's just telling me something. Trying to keep me there, because I was going to visit my family in Arkansas. Because at that time I was staying in Denver, so I was going back to visit and talk and shine a little bit and talk to my folks, and then I was gonna come back. Needless to say, I went to prison. But my daughter. So when I got out of prison, my daughter was 10 years old, and so that was another big change in my life. Yes, those are moments when you do have to push heavy and you just got to make your path. And so when I got out, my daughter was 10 years old. So here I am after doing a decade. I got a daughter, my daughter with me, 10 years old. I got to learn how to be a father. I've been sending her things. I was locked up. I was sending her Jordans. And I think I put that in her mind, because today she buy her kids Jordans and herself Jordans. And I remember I did that because I'm in prison and I wanted my firstborn daughter to have a bed. So I saved my money up, and instead of me buying some Zuzus and Wham Wham, sometime I save my money up and I buy something out the East Bay catalog, because we was able to order. So I sent a check off the East Bay catalog and order something for my daughter. I get her some shoes for her birthday or something, and then I sent it to her. So I did that all the time. And even though I was incarcerated, I couldn't do much, but what I could do, I made sure I did what I could. And then once I started making money in prison, I learned how to hustle. I started doing other things, sending her stuff, and doing things for her. And I remember, that bond right there started then. But when I got out, I didn't know how to be a father. I took a parenting class too when I was incarcerated to learn how to parent, to learn how to talk, to learn how to deal with them, to think about the way I was raised and how my parents raised me and the ways they went wrong without knowing it. You know what I mean? Because sometimes, we teach our kids things that we thought was right until we find out that, damn, that wasn't right. You know what I mean? And rest in love to my mom that's dead now. You know what I mean? I learned a lot from her, and I learned a lot of things that I shouldn't do. You know what I mean? So I think, like, with health and with just making certain decisions or holding on to people that's actually going to bring you down, sometimes you can learn from your ancestors, your parents, those who passed away. You know what I mean? So I just thought about all of that as I was going through that. Yes, yes, the East Bay. You remember that? Yeah, yeah, yeah. I had to order, man. I did that for my daughter, no lie. What's up, God? What's up, God? I did the same thing, like say for my daughter, bro. That's what I did. So for those who know about the East Bay, they know that's real because in prison, and especially in the Arkansas prison, we was able to do that. So I save my money up, or I hustle and have someone put money on my books, and I send my daughter. And honestly, I don't even think she know to this day how she got it or how she got addicted to the Jordans. But I did that because in that time, Jordan was the top, and I felt like I wanted my baby. This is my first daughter, you know what I mean? Even though I'm locked up, I'm gonna see what I can do for her. I want her to know that her daddy loved her, you know what I mean? So when I got out of prison, I was blessed with the opportunity to raise my daughter. Her mom actually got her down on a plane, and I was able to go pick her up. You know what I mean? So I get out of prison a few months later. I got a chance to get my daughter, and it was crazy the way the situation happened. So I got to share this story because it gets kind of, this right here is a little emotional for me because my baby mother, me and her was on a good relationship as far as with my daughter. Like, she always kept the communication level open for me. And I remember her sending my daughter to me and saying, hey, after she was down there with me for like a month or so, she was like, hey, that's what we're going to do. You've been gone for 10 years. I've been raising Ty for this time. Now I feel like it's time for you to raise her. And then you send her back to me in the summer times, and I keep her during the summer. And now you raise her till she graduate. And I was like, okay, bet. She was like, that'll give you time to, build a relationship. Plus, she want to be with you anyway. And my daughter did. She was so excited when she got a chance to, be with me. And I picked her up at the plane station. It was an exciting moment for me. And I remember before I got a chance to send her back, and this is where the emotional part come in. Before I got a chance to send her back, her mom died on me. You know what I mean? It just out the blue, like out the blue, man. It was out the blue. I remember my daughter. I was mad at her because it was during Christmas season, um, and she had made a big promise to my daughter about some stuff she was going to send her. And then, thinking about my daughter in a new household, she got two other siblings, but only one stayed in, and she was telling them, my mama gonna do this and this. And then when that time came, we did, stuff for her, make sure she was good. But her mom was going through something, which I didn't know because we wasn't talking, like that. And she didn't send her the things that she said she was going to send her for Christmas. So it just kind of hurt my daughter, and it kind of hurt me. So I was kind of hurt that I was like, hey, Chris, if you had something going, you could have just told me. I could have got it, for, and then that way she wouldn't have been expecting it, you know what I mean, and then didn't get it. So I was just kind of mad that she was told these things and it didn't go through. But I didn't know that she was sick at the time either. So I remember, a little while after then, my daughter come talking to me. This was like, January, the beginning of the year, because she did send it. She got it like the beginning of the year, and she got her things. And I remember she talked to her mom about something, and she came to me one day. I was in my room, and she said, Dad, could you pray with me about my mama? And I was like, yeah, baby, what's going on? She was like, I think my mama's sick. And she said she was sick, and I don't want her to die. And I was like, no, your mom ain't gonna die, baby. Come on, let's pray. So we prayed right then. We prayed for her mom and went on. I'm not thinking nothing because like I say, I haven't been talking to her because I was still a little irritated with how she did that with my daughter. But we still communicate. Like, she called, I get telephone. She had a direct line. Like, we still had communication. we just was like, not really talking at that time. And so the next morning, I remember, I want to say it was the next morning or maybe a few days later, um, I woke up, man, to like so many missed calls. And it was my daughter's grandmother. So when I seen the number and I seen the name, I was like, I instantly thought about my daughter, mom. I was like, man, I hope she okay. I answered the phone. They said, Joe, Chrissy just died. I was like, y'all, right? I cannot explain to you. Man, that messed me up, man. You know what? The crazy part that really hurt me about the situation is I didn't know how to tell my daughter that. You know what I mean? I didn't know how to say, your mom gone. Your mom died. You know what I mean? When she just came in and asked me how to pray, pray for her a few days or a day or so ago. And it literally took me, this happened that morning when I talked to her, it took me all day before I was able to communicate to my daughter that her mom died. I didn't know how to do it, bro. Like, I didn't know what to say. You know what I mean? I didn't know how to tell her her mom had passed. That was hard for me because I didn't know what to say. I'm like, man, she just told me. You know what I mean? So that's why I said that's a little emotional for me because it was just an untimely death, man. And I think she died from pneumonia, I believe. And she was coughing real bad. And they say that her cough formed she was coughing so hard that it formed a blood clot and it stopped her heart. So that's kind of what happened to her. Make sure I check out what everybody's saying. Yeah, man. Rest in paradise, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, it was hard. I'm gonna be honest with you. It was hard, man. And so I explained it to my daughter. All of this happened me getting fresh out of prison, and that's why I wanted to share the story because I had a lot placed on my plate, and they say to whom much is given, much is required. So I was placed a lot of things on my chest as soon as I got out. Like it was like unreal. But you know what? We made it happen, man. But I remember my daughter being happy that I was there. You know what I mean? That I was there with her through the whole process. And even though me and my dad wasn't getting along at all, I haven't had a lot of respect for my dad. But during that time when my daughter mom passed, he was the one that went with me. And not only did he go with me, he helped me on the gas and drove with me when we went back to take my daughter. And that meant a lot to me. I can't lie and say it did. And like I say, all of these things happen fresh out of prison. So welling out the prison, man, it kept me afloat. It kept me sane. I ain't gonna lie. Having that job, being able to go back and start burning rods and wire, after doing that process, man, even the company I was working for, they was legit. They was really involved because, I didn't miss no days. I was coming, I was doing my thing because I enjoyed doing what I was doing. I was learning then. So um, the situation was just, a little overwhelming at the moment, but it all worked out. Needless to say, after that happened, what I mean, my daughter went through something. I had to work with her, and then my mom also helped raise my daughter. So when she passed, it was like even harder because now my daughter lost both of her moms because she considered my mom a mom before she considered her mom a mom because my mom raised her when she was young. So when her mom came back and got her while I was still in prison, she was like, man, who is this woman? You know what I'm saying? Because all she knew was my mama, but she had talked to her on the phone, but she just, didn't have that relationship. So once they built that relationship and then she lost her and then she lost mine, it was just like, it was just devastating, man. You know what I mean? It was just one of those times where I can literally say that welding kept me sane because I remember having a job to go to and I remember having the passion of me wanting to do something better. And during the whole time I was thinking, I wrote down that I wanted to start my own business, but I knew I had to learn how to do business. I had to learn how to work. I had to learn schedule. I had to learn the people, how they act. It's different because, in prison, I like to say me and my aunt talk. I went and visited my aunt in Georgia, and she did 22 or 25 years in the military. And well, after we sat there and talked, I realized one thing during our conversation, that the prison and military is a lot alike. It's a controlled system, a controlled environment. And it's always somebody you got to respect. There's always someone that's going to make you do something you don't want to do. It's always something that it's always, it's like you're being treated like property, pretty much. You're being treated like property. And so me being there and her doing that, it just let me know how you can have side effects from that. So life out of welding out the prison, I can also just honestly say that there was side effects. There are side effects now that I'm dealing with, from doing a decade, and I didn't really realize the mental um, issues or the way it would affect me when you're doing it. I was surviving, so I seen a lot of people fall short in their life. A lot of guys get into the homosexual activities. A lot of guys get into the, just get institutionalized into the system and just don't want to go home. You know what I mean? I've seen like so much that I felt like, well, I'm a man, I'm a gladiator. I survived that without getting involved in that, because I didn't get involved in the homosexual activities. I didn't get involved into the being institutionalized, want to stay in the system. All I did was figure out a way to get out the system. I educated myself. I hustled while I was in there. I got into fights and things like that to survive. It wasn't, and to be honest, one none of my fights never are like, oh, I'm just gonna go pick a fight or something. Like, it was always a survival situation, or disrespect, because disrespect in there is not tolerated. So certain things a person can say can cause a mean situation, and that's what I learned to survive in that. So, certain words you couldn't say to me in there, or you couldn't say to a grown man in there, or you finna have some repercussions. You couldn't say like the things that they say on, people get mad and say out their mouth and say on social media or say on the internet when they posting their little comments. They wouldn't have survived to say that. But it's cool because you in front of a camera or a phone or something, where you at, and you say whatever, but in there you got repercussions. You can't run from that. If you say it out your mouth, you're gonna have to fight. You're gonna have to stand on it. And so, being raised like that made me a little bit more bolder. My empathy level is like low. I don't have a lot. I'm just being honest with you. I have to work on that empathy. You know what I mean? I don't have a lot of that. My mind is just, I think two ways, survive or don't survive. But if you're a survivor, not surviving isn't an option, so you survive. You know what I mean? So in there, it was survive or don't survive. So you only had two options. So I'm a survivor. So having a reason to give up or a reason to get involved in that, that's like, it's not even an option. So, you know, when I got out and dealing with people now, some people, they make up so many excuses why they shouldn't do something, why this is so hard, why I need to give up, why this ain't going, without just saying, hey, I'm gonna make it happen. Point blank, period. I'm gonna make it happen. If you ride with me or not, if you believe in me or not, I believe in me, and that's enough to make it happen. And that's what I think that we got to do. You gonna have to believe in you enough to make things happen, man. And I think me engrafting those principles while I was in there, as far as like my survival mode, it helped me be a better welder, a better business owner today, because literally, like, I took it to heart. Like, I was in there, the welding class I took was 14 months, but it wasn't 14 months consecutively. It was 1440 hours. So it was 1,440 hours that I actually got to be certified. I think the class probably took 9 months, but we was actually in it for 14 because of the breaks and stuff like that, and the way that the system is set up. But needless to say, I took it to heart, and I learned to be a combination welder, combo welder, TIG, MIG, and stick, and I can do pipe as well. So I learned all of that. Give me a second. I want to clear this up because my deal will go down. So I wanted to be a combo welder, and to have always stressing threes. I wanted to have three options. I know I'm born mind, body, and spirit, so I like to network that way. I wanted to have more than one option. I didn't want to be placed in the box. I wanted to get out, and if they say, hey, can you do this type of work? I'm like, yeah, I can do that and get that job. Hey, you do this? Yeah, I can do that. And then I can learn other things while I was on the job. So, welding out the prison, man, is a story of just someone who actually survived some rough times without guide. Like I had to create my own guides by those I believed in or seen that was doing what I know I wanted to do or I needed to do. You know what I mean? Because like I say, I didn't have the a fatherly guide role in my life to say, let's do this or let's go hunting or let me teach you. I didn't have none of that. Like it was the streets for me. You know what I mean? Like all I seen was blue. All I seen is blue and black. You know what I'm saying? And the opposite colors. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I was raised. This crack set. This pistol, you know what I mean? I was raised like, okay, this is how you get it. You're gonna hold this down. This is how you're gonna feed yourself. And for those who got those better options and got fathers, man, I salute them to this day. I got friends that got fathers, man, in their life. And I said, man, you don't know how lucky you are. And sometimes they'll complain about this and this. I'm like, nah, man, he paved the way for you, man. You know what I mean? Like, you don't get how important, like, one of my friends that who I don't even talk to, I'm gonna call him my friend because we grew up friends. You know what I mean? I haven't talked to him in years, but his father influenced me to be completely independent. I watched this black man. He built his own house. He used to build little go cars for us, like out of metal. He built the frames. He welded. He knew how to weld. He was a carpenter. He built his own house. He bought his own land. He did his own thing. And to me, that black man was Superman. And I used to look at my partner, you know what I mean? He was like, man, that's my daddy. And he'll take me down there to his house. And I used to be just like, in awe, like, damn, look at this. It was just the love that he showed him. You know, it wasn't never like, hey, son, you want to do this? Let me show you how to do it. And he used to always say, hey, I'm going to drive trucks like my daddy. Because he started driving big trucks and stuff and bringing in loads. And to this day, man, my partner that was young is driving big trucks on his own truck, I believe. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy because his daddy paved the way. My guy's an owner. He's the boss right now. He got kids doing this thing. Like I say, me and him don't associate, you know, like I would like to. You know, I mean, I don't even have his information, but I know when I go back to my hometown, I eventually see him again. But we grew up together, me and him, you know, me, him, and another partner. And you know, like I say, my hood was blue, so we grew up blue. That's what it was, you know what I'm saying? And I remember us rapping, and I remember before we even got gold teeth, everybody we grew up with had gold teeth. You know, my aunt, my grandmother had a mouthful of gold teeth, you know what I'm saying? So it was like, it was our custom. So I remember us getting a little pop on gold. Those, remember they used to sell them for like $14, $15, $20. You get the real 10K or whatever it was, 14K pop on. We'll pop us from one end in the front. You know, that's when we had the one. We young. We like, yeah, man, we gonna get gold. We gonna do this. We gonna do that. You know. So I think that the thing that the most thing about whether or not the prison is I kept my imagination. You know, wanting to be a boss, wanting to be better. And I think that's going to be the main thing. And anybody that's going to start anything, like, you're going to have a great imagination. And that's why I started that hashtag, imagine your container, because I think people don't imagine no more. They let other people think for them. They let the internet think for them. They let someone else, the preacher, think for them. They let the news think for them. They let, you know, the school teachers think for them without them actually thinking for themselves. And that's why I say imagine yours. So to me, that hashtag was not only just for business use for me to promote my business on me doing conversions and modifying them, but to make people think outside the box, make my brothers and sisters think outside the box. We can use this box, this shipping container, and turn it into business, turn it into real estate, turn it into commerce. Like there's so much we can do with something that was meant to only ship some goods. Now we can do it to do other things. You know what I mean? So to me personally, it was just something that I seen, me being a welder fabricator, I seen the endless potential in what you can do with a used shipping container or with a new shipping container. Especially being an entrepreneur and a small business owner, man, because think about it. I watch now, like I'll drive down, I'm in Oklahoma City, and I see people rent out different plaza buildings and shops and stuff, and then, you know, so they don't own it, they just rent it, and they get it all going and big, and then something happen, they go down, somebody else got a new name, like I seen somebody else business go down, they put a new name up, all that reputation, all that deal, all that traffic, all that, you know, it was, to me, it was like almost in vain, you know, even though it used it at the moment. But to me, I think it's better to actually own the real estate, you know, to own your piece, even if you're renting that land, you can own that real estate. And so if anything happens, you can move the real estate or you can add on to it. You can start at X amount of dollars and then go from there. And honestly, just a good business plan. Someone asked me about money wise, like it honestly, it takes money to make money. But if you're gonna deal with a shipping container and you're gonna turn it into a business, I would at least start off. I'm gonna be honest with you on a budget of at least $5,000. $5,000 can get you a 20 footer or a modified one or a good 10 footer custom. It can get you a basic 20 footer. It can get you a 40 footer, and you can be able to do some other things with it because it depends on the price and what you're trying to get involved in it. But I'm just talking about a complete project, a 20 to a 10 footer. You can have it complete for business, for commerce, your t-shirt business, your coffee shop, your cutting hair. 20 footer is great for a little barber shop, like excellent. 40 footer is even great, but 20, because you got to think, this 20 is easy to put in different places. You can have it at this person say, hey man, I want to rent a corner on your lot. You know what I mean? The people that got businesses that will see your business and it's nice will let you rent out a piece of spot because they know that the people that's coming in there are also going to do business with them. They say, oh man, they come get their haircut. I got a store to sell this here. They'll leave out of here, come shop with me because you gave me the opportunity. And I even promote it for you. Hey man, go over here. They got good prices. Just say hashtag so and so. They're going to give you a better deal because you're shopping with us. You see what I'm saying? So it's so many ways to network. So I think being an entrepreneur, man, it just helps us own something. And then, me being a black native, because I'm black and Native American. I actually did my trace and I'm Osage and Cherokee. Actually, both of those are in me strongly, but you can only claim one when you're trying to file for your deal. So I'm gonna probably claim the Osage one. But like I say, I'm Cherokee and Osage. So I learned a lot about my culture, and it's funny because as you grow and you learn more, you start implementing more things in your life personally. So, the journey of welding out the prison, man, it's a complete journey. It's like, to me, I think it's the end of the story, the end of the book, or so to speak, will be when it's over. Even though I'm gonna write a book, talking about this experience, but to me, it's an ongoing process. And that's why I stress getting my hog on, because it's a lifestyle. Because I know I'll be doing something with welding. If I'm not welding physically myself, I'm gonna be having my hands in tied. Is if I'm teaching it, educating, or building products, or selling products, or whatever it is. I know welding gonna be a part of my income, so it'll always be a part of what I do. And welding out the prison has saved me. Like, I have bought a house, I have bought cars, jewelry. You know, I got a guy there. My first set of gold teeth, I'm gonna be honest with you, they came from the streets hustling. And these 8 I got now, they came from welding. You know what I mean? Putting in the work, saving my money, and it wasn't cheap. I went and got these. You know what I mean? My guy was like, "Man, how you get these?" I got these from welding. They ain't come no street money, none of that. Wasn't no conversion, none of that. I took all that old stuff out, and I went with 8. Remember that? And I kept saying number 8. So that's why I got 8 gold teeth. And my 8 gold teeth means for new beginnings. And every day I look in the mirror, it reminds me. I have to remind myself that, Joe, this is a new beginning for you, man. You know what I mean? I remember where I came from. So everybody have their reasons to do what they do. And I think that me choosing to weld, my mom planted that seed, because it even wasn't a choice. It's like my mom planted a seed, and that seed spawned different ideas within me. So utilizing that has took my life, man. Has took my life through so many metamorphoses on the good thing. I remember times when things was hard, and then you can't really see the way. And then later you look, it's like, damn, I made it through this era. I remember when it was tough like this, but I made it through. And it was all because I learned some endurance. And I tend to reflect a lot on my past experience from prison, because even though it was prison, I still had some good times in there. Like I still laughed. I still met some good people. I still had some good moments and some good experiences, even though I was in a cage. You know what I mean? And I remember my wife asking me one time, she was like, "Why do you always say prison that or you relate to this?" And I was like, "Well, why do you always relate to your meals over Christmas or Thanksgiving with your family?" And she was like, "Well, those was good moments for me because I remember this." And I'm like, the saddest part, and I hate to admit, but I grew up there. I had to make memories there, and those are some of my uh, memories, some of my good memories, actually. You know what I mean? Even I made a lot of more since I've been out. I still have good memories that I reflect back to in prison. You know what I mean? And now she gets it. You know what I mean? She gets, once you spend that type of time somewhere, it's gonna always affect you. And I released a video some weeks ago talking about, once I seen this dude, I lost my cool. Um, to me, honestly, I have to relate that back to prison, like the mentality I went into once I seen this guy. I can't lie to you that it's like I literally went back to the yard, like it was like it's death before dishonor with me. You know what I mean? So at that time, it was like, okay, I said when I seen you, you know what I mean? And I literally just, it's kind of all I could think about was talking to my aunt and understanding what a soldier goes through when they have these flashbacks, and I didn't realize that doing that much time also do you like that. Having, it's like scarred from trauma in your life, from going through something and just a tough moment where you had to survive. And you know what? Being a man, let's be honest with you, those who watch me who are males who got female, heterosexual males, you never, when you out here, it's never a question who you are, right? You know, you don't nobody walk up to you and say, "Hey man, are you a man for real?" Don't nobody do you like that out here. But in prison, just because you was born a boy and you think you a man and you like women and this, somebody gonna try to turn you into a female. Those are facts. I seen it. I witnessed it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's some messed up thinking individuals in there that just because you a man, they want to make sure. They want to test you to make sure that you're a man. So that's a trauma where I felt like there's no way I would die before I let another man abuse me sexually. You see what I'm saying? You're gonna have to kill me, my guy. You see what I'm saying? It's point blank. And that's what's the mentality that I had to have. And I went to that extreme in there. Like in prison, I caught attempted murder charge. For those who don't know, I stabbed a guy 9 to 13 times. I remember. I can't remember. It was a lot. I think it was 13 because they had it in the paperwork. It was 9 to 13 times. I stabbed a guy in there, to protect my manhood because I'm not going for that BS. You see what I'm saying? I was born a man, I'm gonna die one. So it was that extreme with me, and I wasn't even in prison 90 days. So that should let you know that I don't go for no BS. Like you're not finna like, and that was something that really traumatized me because I was like, man, I can't believe that this dude would tell another man because one of my friends was overheard a conversation. I ain't gonna say my friend, but a guy that went through prison when we went through the diagnostic unit together. So, we kind of like had our first day. And so we talked and kind of had our bond because he didn't know nobody. I didn't know nobody. And he told me he overheard some guys talking about how attractive I was. My hair was real long. I had long hair at the time. I was a little shorter, you know what I mean? Like, so I was young. But it was like, oh man, this dude attractive, man. This and this, man. I'm gonna try to see if I can, make him this and this, make him a girl, this and this. And my one of the dudes like, man, I don't think little dude a gangster, man. He ain't going for that shit. You see what I'm saying? And dude like, oh well, I heard a lot of them say that. You know what I mean? Well, he found out I wasn't going for that shit. You know what I mean? And that's what happened, man. I had an older guy that was in there who said I went to who was known for having, what we call shanks and pistols, you know what I mean? And I said, hey man, I need a pistol, man. I got a situation I need to take care of. And he was an older OG, and he was like, I remember him looking at me, putting his glasses down and saying, hey, if I give you this, you need to use it. I'm like, I'm gonna use it. You know what I'm saying? Because if I didn't, that was even a violation for me going to this man and saying, hey, I need this, and then I'm playing with his time. So, that would have been a situation. I'm like, nah. I wouldn't even come to you if I didn't need this. I need this. I need to take care of. So I need to make an example. So that's what I had to do in there. And I was told if you make an example in blood and you really make an example, people always remember you and always remember that you don't go for that. And that's what I had to do. 17 years old at the time. Was I 17? 16? No, I was 70. I was 17. When that happened, I was 17. Yep. Yeah, it was right after my birthday. So it was right after I turned 17 when this happened. I think I caught this charge in like September, October, September. I think it was like right after the summer or right around the summertime. Because during that time, prison is in an uproar, man. Especially during the summertime, you're working hard. There's just so much attitude. It's crazy. But I remember me catching that charge and having to deal with this guy. You know what I mean? I addressed him. I came to the guy and said, hey, man, I heard you said this and this. And I knew he did it, but I had to go to him and face him and see what he said to me. And he looked at me and kind of played me off. He was the older guy. And he was like, oh, youngster, you know, listen what folks say. Kind of like, you know, you could tell when somebody did something, but they trying to laugh it off and push you off like you nothing. I'm like, okay. And I, hey, man, I got one more thing to ask you, man. And when he turned around, that's when I gave it to him. And I gave it to him right then. Like, listen, I just lost I ain't gonna lie to you. I blacked out. You know what I mean? When I came back, that's when they were spraying me with mace and I was using him as a shield. And I remember seeing blood everywhere. But for a quick second, for a moment, I just blacked out. All I knew was I'm not no punk. I'm not dying. I'm not gonna die in here in prison being something that I'm not. If I'm gonna die being a man. And all I can think is this dude tried to violate me. I can't believe this dude talked about raping me, talking to another man about my body as a man. Like, I couldn't believe that. Like, I ain't never experienced nothing like that. So I had to, and then I know in there, after what I'd seen, that, you know, it's vicious in there. I done seen dudes come in there and leave out late night. I'm like, damn, what's wrong with him? He on a wheelchair, or walking pants all bloody. I'm like, damn. And like, it was some wicked stuff in there, man. So I knew that it was going to be death before the summer. So, you know, me being a little bolder now and people wondering why I stand alone and I run my own lane, because I don't trust a lot of people. You know what I mean? I have seen men who said they was man fold. You know what I mean? So I know that it takes a situation to really see who a person is. It takes some endurance. It takes some hard times, because you can say you anything when things are going smooth. You see what I'm saying? When things are going easy, you can say, yeah, I'm the man, I'm this and this. But how are you when things get a little hard, when there's a little pressure on you? Are you still that same person? Are you still getting your hog on then, or are you switching it up? You know what I mean? I know dudes who switched up. I don't respect that. I know dudes who been one set and they'll get pressure on another one being in prison. Now they turn to something else. I'm like, dang, bro, what? I thought you was. But he's trying to survive. He's trying to survive so much that he said, you know what? I'm with them now. You know, everybody do different things. And to me personally, I'm a survivor, man. Like, and I don't respect changing up. Whatever you are, be who you are. I don't have no, because we all who we are due to where we're raised there, due to where we grew up at, due to our environment, our parents, you know what I mean? So it ain't like, you know, just because I was born in a blue environment, my hood was blue and your hood was red. If I was born over there, I would have been the same thing. But I was born over here. And you got to think, we had no choice in that. These places the government assisting housing, government assisting places that most of us grew up in. So it wasn't something that we had to, it wasn't our hood, it was their hood. They just put us there. You know what I mean? So, you know, learning that, being in prison, going through that, you know what I mean? It just made me a little bit more bolder now. So, you know, that's why I don't bite my tongue when they say something. You know, if I got something I'm gonna say it. You know what I mean? I don't care, you know, if I hurt your feelings, whatever, you know what I mean? I don't care. Because to me, I know one thing, the truth might hurt your feelings, but it'll save your life. I know a lot of guys that didn't want to hear certain things, and I didn't want to hear certain things, but it saved my life. I had to say, you know what, you're right, bro. I got to tighten up on this. I need to change that. You know what I mean? So life after prison has been a process for me. It's a process, like more, it's a mental process, a spiritual process. It has been a emotional process, because I had to experience things differently and I had to view people different, because getting out here, people ain't as rough and violent and as thinking twisted, like, you know, in prison. And so I realized that people are a little different. You know, being aggressive, or soon as someone say something in certain tones, you know, you instantly jump into your defense mechanism. And now here people tend to think like, oh man, what's wrong with this person? And then you thinking to yourself, that was super disrespectful what you was saying. Do you not think someone is going to respond in this way? But then again, you got to think, in prison, I had to respond. Like certain things, it's crazy because I understand it now. Certain certain things trigger me as far as like my responses. You know what I mean? Like if I'm holding a conversation and you say some words, I'm gonna instantly, if it's something disrespectful, I'm gonna instantly say something. I'm gonna instantly pull your coat and hold up. Who you think you talking to? You know what I mean? You need to remember that I put my pants on like you. You know what I mean? Like I can't tell you how many people I have had a situation with who tend to get a little sideways. And I'm saying, hey, if we got an issue, I'm grown. We can step around this building and handle this stuff like grown men and walk off. I can go back to the job. So I can't tell you how many times I did in prison. You know what I mean? And on job sites as an iron worker welder. You know what I mean? So for those who've been iron worker welder, they know that sometimes stuff happen inside of the staircases, behind the buildings, when people get their little attitudes. I ain't never been, to me, you never lose a war. You never lose a war or a battle unless you don't fight. So just if we got into it and you get the best of me right then, you best believe you knew I was there if you got the best of me. And if you come across me again, you're going to have to do the same thing. And most people want an easy fight. They don't want nobody that's going to fight them every time. They want somebody to walk up to you, give me your lunch money. Okay. And they walk off. They don't want nobody that's gonna fight them every time they get ready to exit. Hey man, we got to go. We're gonna have dude might get out on me last time. Hell, he almost got me. Cause he got that heart of a lion. And that's just me. I got the heart of a lion. I am an Aries. I'm a true Aries. So I was born a leader. I was born fire. You know what I mean? Like it's just me. That's just who I am. I'm true to what God created me, and I had to embrace that. And for me to be a welder, and for me to be a Aries, for me to be from the Southern culture and experience that, to me, it was all meant for me to be as strong as I am now. And I'm not even gonna lie to you, because I still face things that I'm working with daily. Like I'm not perfect. I'm working with um, skeletons in my closet from prison. Then again, I'm still working with having more empathy, with viewing things differently. You know what I mean? With not responding to certain things, certain ways, because that's why I stand alone a lot, because I don't trust a lot. You know what I mean? Because I have seen what trusting a whole lot of people, or too many people, or the wrong people, can do to you. I have seen people in prison, their own friends, their own homeboys from their own hoods, same colors, turn them out and put them in a situation to get them raped, get them robbed in there because they had a little bit more. And somebody say, "Hey man, you give us him, man, and do this." Well, man, it's just, I have seen some wicked stuff, so that's why I respond, and I be the way I am. And I'm not quick to listen to somebody's words, because people can say anything. I'm not too fond about your words. I'm more fond about your actions and your consistency, because I know that one thing, the real is gonna consistent. You're gonna walk in the rain, the sleet, the snow. 4 seasons, you're gonna keep walking. You ain't gonna never stop, because that's who you are. But you're gonna have some people that talk good in certain seasons. All in the summertime, they got a lot of talk. In the fall, they going down. In the winter, you don't hear from them. You see what I'm saying? But not me. Not us. Not those who got that hog in them. We gonna do what we do every year, every day, every season, because it's in us. And to me, that's what I want to express in this welding out the prison, because you need to know it from someone who went through it the rough way. And that's why I represent the hog. That's why, I in the South, we call ourselves bow hogs, because, we got to feed ourselves. You know what I mean? Like if I get hungry, I can't just sit back and wait on this person to feed me. I'm gonna go get my own meal. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go figure out a way to make it happen. And to me, I think that's what makes me different as an independent welder, because I, I'm going to figure out something, man. Sometimes, we get discouraged. Sometimes you have to sit back, go to the drawing board, say, hey, I'm gonna do this, draw something up, whatever. I get it, man, because that's what it is. But using that skill, not just as a job, but to turn that trade into a business, that's where you're gonna win at. And to me, that's why welding has given me my independence, because I used it not as a trade or a career, but also turned it into a business. And I'm steady turning into a business. Like I'm working on business ventures as of now, so welding was a independent, was a tool that gave me great independence. And it's something that I gained in prison. A lot of facilities and places don't have that type of opportunity. So for those who are in there or who was, I think you should have took advantage of that opportunity, because where can you, get doing time and then get out with a free education? If you're gonna do the time anyway, you might as well take advantage of the education, especially, something you can use. I see some dudes that went to prison, they want to do computers and get in the office, and I'm like, yeah, that's cool, bro, but that's gonna be a little harder because they ain't gonna look at us the same, you know what I mean? But one thing I do recognize, and that's why I say field welding isn't shop welding, because people recognize and respect people that can do it in the field. If you can work in the climates, if you can do it in the environment, if you can hog on no matter what the situation is, if you can troubleshoot when it's not a perfect environment, then hey, you a beast. You know what I mean? You all. And I have heard many foremen, owners, contractors say, hey man, I respect the person that can think outside the box in the field, because in the shop is control. We can make sure everything perfect. Out here, you might have an inch gap. You might have to feel something in. You might have to have a back and play, whatever. Just make it happen. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I ain't grafted into the field welding, and why I created the hashtag welding and hip hop, because I'm a hip hop head, and I grew up into hip hop. Like I say, I'm a hip hop artist too. I release records. I have a Pandora station. For those who don't know, you can look on Pandora, Spotify, and put in Black Feniks. That's BLACKFENIKS. So it ain't spelled like Phoenix. It's spelled actually how you pronounce Phoenix. FENIKS. So, and you can check out my Pandora channel, my music on YouTube. I got videos. So I do things. The things that I have done has been independent too. So, you as you look through certain materials, you can see, oh man, he got better and better. He's just working on towards the engineering and the sound and the quality and all of that good stuff. I think you get better as you critique what you do. And I designed that hashtag of welding hip hop because it's a lot of younger generations that love the music, that loves the hip hop, that want to be stars, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we know that everybody won't. But we know one thing, that everybody can make money on it. So you can have a fan base. You can have that, but you're gonna have to have some finances to get you a budget to actually turn what you're doing into a business. And that's why I stress turn a trade into a business, because you can actually finance your music career or your other businesses by using welding. See, it's just like a tool. You need finances, so sometimes you have to work. And I say that, you're gonna have to put the work ethics in. So it's not gonna be easy all the time, but it can be done. But I feel like with that hashtag, I had to lead by example. So I wanted to show that I'm a hip hop person, and I'm also welding, and it's okay to do both. It's okay to be a welder and do your hip hop and actually be an owner. You know what I mean? So I want to show them that it's okay to have the job, get the job, learn the business, start a bit, find something that you good in, because everybody good in different things, man. And it's just, to me, welding has no limitations. So as long as you're doing it and you got a vision, I don't think there's no limitations at it. You know what I mean? Because the opportunities are grand. Even though that the way things happen with me in prison and the stuff that I've been learning to this day, how it has been affecting me, and how I had to overcome different things. The path was, I was an adolescent who had found himself in a cell. I found myself during that time. And what really freed me and kept me focused was the welding that I use, and having it after prison actually literally kept me from going back to prison. Even though I did go back 5 years later after staying out doing my thing off papers. I had to go back for 10 months because, I didn't tell it. I had a friend of mine that got wrapped in some things, and I had to bond out. Like the bond was like $250. It was cheap. So I'm thinking like, sure, there ain't nothing gonna come to this. But you know how the system is. If once you've been in the system, they can always hang it over your head. So either I tell on my friend and put him in there, which I didn't even know all the information to tell on the man. You see what I'm saying? If I would, but I'm not that type of dude. And so needless to say, I had to go to prison for 10 months or get a whole lot of probation. And I was like, nah, forget it. I'll just go to prison and be done with it. I did that and was done with it because of, not telling, you know what I mean? But it was also surrounding myself with people, then again, like I say, who I thought was real like me. You know what I mean? If it was my situation, I wouldn't let nobody go down for my crime. If I did something that I know you didn't have nothing about, then why I'm gonna let you go down for it? You know what I mean? But that goes to show again how I say with me it was death before dishonor. So that's why after that situation too happened, I had to really be real cautious on who I allow in my circle, who I associate with, who I call my brother, because just because you greet me with you my brother, I know you might have a knife or a gun to cut my throat or shoot me. You know what I mean? When things get complicated or you need someone to sell out. So you have to really watch people who you deal with. But having a spirit of discernment will help you just be open-minded and listen, because people will tell you and show you. Most definitely they'll show you who they are quicker than they'll tell you who they are, because character don't lie. And a lot of people don't know how to read it, so they can't deceive you. It's like character does not gonna lie. Like a lie, you can, if you watch it, it'll eventually break, and your character is gonna always reveal who you are when the situations drop down and be like, okay, this is who this person is. So, like I say, welding out the prison was a big experience for me. I'm still working on issues from there. Like I say, traumas from that, from surviving like that, from having to just, jump into that. We used to always call it, man, you got to jump into your gangster mode any time, because you don't know when something about to kick off. Sometimes when I hear certain things, and then I have seen, being in there too, I seen the hate from white people. I have seen them overdo things just because they could. You know, and most of these people, these whites that I seen do this, was low class, middle class, so to speak. They just want to be able to flex that authority. Oh, I can do this. Like, I have seen some evil stuff, man. I won't even get into it all, because I'm just happy I survived it. But I remember one time, I'm gonna share this story with you before I go. Uh, I remember one time my whole barracks and some more people got hog tied, and I never forget that they hog tied us. They had some stuff going on in the facility, the war, and someone wanted the whole squad riders to be at work at night because of something, and they had attitudes that they couldn't be home with their kids, they couldn't drink a beer right then. And when I tell you these dudes was evil, man, listen, they hog tied people, and then they beat us. Like, I got stomped in the head, in the back. Luckily, I didn't get no broken rib. I got dudes that lost teeth. Like, they hog tied us in a gym and then beat the shit out of us. And then check this out. Didn't nobody really do, like, wasn't nobody fight. They just had an attitude. Like, it was unreal. And I'm gonna tell you what saved. I never forget. I'm gonna tell you how I know it wasn't right. This black captain was on. She was on, and she didn't know what they was doing. She was, it's a big prison. They on different time. She found out that they had all these inmates in there, and she seen it on the camera that they all kind of just walking around stomping and kicking folks and just doing things and calling them niggas, and just, she came down there and threw a fit. I remember, get them out of them, cut them off right now. What's wrong with, like, she talked so bad to them. And I remember, man, there was some dudes in there was young, that she, was babies. She said, y'all, because most of us 15, 16, 17, kids in there, that a lot of them didn't even do nothing violent, man. Just, situations. Them dudes doing that, man, messed them dudes up, man. And, so that just put a bitter taste in my mouth, only because I seen the hate. I seen what the evil, I seen the eye, what it looks like. I just want to do something to you. I just want to hurt you. I just want to I don't know, man. But welling out the prison has opened my eyes a lot. And it changed me a lot, because I seen so much in there. And after seeing things like that, it's like anyone that went through a war. You're never going to be the exact same person you was when you entered that situation, but you can be better, but it's always going to be some type of scar, some type of repercussion, some type of things that you're going to deal with from that situation. So with the concept, or with me writing this book and doing this video blog, I just kind of wanted to share a little bit of my story. I know I kind of went all over the place, because I just wanted to talk to you a little bit. But welding out the prison most definitely has changed my life, and it's going to keep changing my life, because I'm going to use this tool. I'm going to maximize it, man. I'm going to maximize welding until I can't get nothing else out of it. And I'm knowing that there's so many avenues in it that, I just got to stay focused. I've been working on the HogOn Cafe right now, which is going to be the storefront of the HogOn Welding School, which my goal is to use the cafe to generate the finances to build the school, well, to buy the land and build the school. So I'm gonna use it to do some small sessions, to sell some products, do some services, to be able to build it. So you have to start, sometimes you have to start on a small scale to do big things, but keep in mind that even though I'm doing this on this scale, I'm still the owner of it. So sometimes you have to create your own situation, and that's one thing that prison taught me. So when you see these containers that I'm building, especially the HogOn Cafe, I'm gonna put my ideas and the things I've learned and my work ethics involved in it to build it, to be able to show a person what they can do, from a student to a client to a customer. Someone that need to see an example. You know, and that's all I can do, man. All I know how to do is lead by example. That's it. Like that's me. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna make nothing up to you. I'm not gonna shoot you no lies. I'm not the one to, to preach, preach to you or give you uh, conspiracy theories, or, I am pro-black, but pro-black doesn't mean I'm anti-white, because I'm not. I love all my people, you know what I mean? But I most definitely love my black people. So when I say black power, it means what it means. Black power, we need to come together. We need to have strength as a people, but it doesn't mean that uh, um, we're stepping on another race of people at all. We just time for us to love us and to come together and educate us and to build us. And that's what I want to do with the welding after prison, with the hashtags that I've created, from the welding and hip hop to imagine your container to products over talent, is to educate and to help and give back and to build culture, to build our own independence, because you never know who you might teach, who you might touch, that might open up, that might become that millionaire that say, hey, this person did this, let me help them out. You don't know how the game go, but we do know this, and I'm gonna leave you with this. There was a parable that 10 people got healed, and out of those 10 people, only one came back to show gratification, to show his love, to say, hey, what can I do for you for what you did for me? So that's a small number, 1 out of 10. So don't get discouraged when you help people and people don't help you like you think they should, or you do for people and they don't do for you, or you give your all and you feel like you got the short of the stick, because your purpose to be a healer, you gonna do what you do. And while you're doing what you're doing, giving your message, healing, whatever, it's always gonna be somebody that's gonna come back. You're gonna touch somebody, but the percentages might not be what you want them to be. You looking at 10 people, you think, man, at least 5 will come back. Only one, you know. So sometimes that only one you got might be the one you need. You see what I'm saying? So don't get distracted when you're building your blog, doing whatever, starting your channels. I'ma always post my video, do my thing. I want to grow and get better, but I started getting 0 subscribers, and now I'm blessed to see 3,000 subscribers after me being consistent and blogging constantly. You know what I mean? Putting my time in and sticking to the strip. I had a few of my followers have hit me up and inboxed me or text me and said, I like the fact that you have been consistent. Your message has never changed. You just been getting better and better over time, and I appreciate seeing that. And that encouraged me, because I wonder, was I reaching anybody sometimes? I was like, man, am I doing anything? Maybe I should just stop. And at that moment, when I was that close to the diamonds, I almost just threw down the pick. And I heard a whisper say, hey, man, it was you that helped me. And I was like, man, I got to keep going. So that's why I'm going to work on this book, Welding After Prison. And I want to do this live video blog to just talk a little bit about it, to get people more of a ideal of me and what will be in the book. So I'm gonna have more. It's gonna be educational things. I'm gonna have principles and some tools to help a person use what's in there to start their own business too. So getting this book is also gonna be a guide. It'll be there's gonna be some jewels in here that's gonna be way worth more than what the book is gonna cost. And having something that you can always relate to or go back to is a plus. So I'm gonna give you things that I know work because I worked it, and I'm only gonna speak from my personal opinion, from what I know. I'm not gonna um, put too much of my own ideology. It's just from my experiences in what I know works. That's why I say I believe in spiritual principles, because it's gonna work every time. If you 2 plus 2 is 4 in whatever culture, you know what I mean. So I think that that's how we got to look at things, and we got to start from somewhere. So just wanted to step in and check in with y'all today and kind of talk to you about that this morning. I know today is Labor Day, so a lot of people are kicking their feet up. Some people will be laboring. My goal is to do some laboring today. So my goal is to do some work today. So I got a few things I want to do, but I want to come and talk to you for a moment too. And this is a part of my work as well. I want to just share just my story with you, just some of the ideas. And I know everybody got different things going on. Hopefully people doing some barbecuing, some fish frying, some family time, some just not doing nothing. You know what I mean? Some people just want to say, hey, you know what? I want to watch series all day. Whatever it is you're going to do today, just be safe, be blessed. Hold on.